The big news of the week was that Jason Schreier wrote an article basically suggesting that Microsoft plans another major cut at the Xbox division of Microsoft. That's supposedly going to happen next week. And so it just got me motivated to actually finally write the article that I've been trying to write for a while and publish it. And actually, unfortunately, Joseph Kim beat me to it. But anyway, nonetheless, as I've said a million times on this podcast, and I've been talking about this way too much, is that Microsoft's whole strategy has been a fucking train wreck from the get-go, right? And so what I wanted to articulate in this article is why they have failed succinctly. And I wish I write more on LinkedIn because it actually has 30,000 views already in less than 24 hours. All right. So why is Microsoft failing is most important and what they can do in order to improve it, right? One, Game Pass is missing the mark. They are less than 40 million subs, and that's nowhere near their 100 million people target. And the whole point of a subscription is to scale it so that you can justify giving away shit content, right? So this is not happening. Their hardware share is absolutely cratered. They are just not competitive anymore. They're less than 30% of the console market versus Sony. And then if you add Nintendo in there, devastating loss for them. But software is the biggest red flag because software is where they make all their money. This is a razor blade business, and all the margin that they get from third-party software, that's cratering, right? So they're less than 14% share against Sony and even worse against Nintendo. Cloud gaming, feature on the box, right? That is not expanding the market. It is not removing friction at all. That is a complete loss leader for them. That is a bullshit product that doesn't even make sense. And then the cross-platform promise is broken as well. All the bullshit PR about bringing shit to mobile, that is not fucking working, right? People are not playing Xbox on a fucking iPhone, right? That's not happening. That will never happen. That is a stupid idea. That was all PR bullshit to get this deal done. It had nothing to do with the reality of what consumers want, right? And then finally, AI is actually bad for Xbox, right? Because AI is what Microsoft is focused on. They don't give a shit about Xbox, right? It is not part of their core strategy, as I've said a million times, and it doesn't make sense to have this as part of it. The only pushback I keep getting on this is that the player data that they gain from Xbox could help them build out their LLMs, which may be true, but they're not fucking doing that now as far as I can tell. And also it's a privacy nightmare for them. So what my solution is, fucking spin out Xbox now, right? Do it now before we have a death of 1,000 cuts of this bullshit that you guys are doing. Layoff after layoff after layoff, destroying the Halo team, cutting all these other teams this. It's got to stop. And if you do this now, you might save the business holistically. Having said that, there are a lot of challenges again with this. So become an independent company to compete head to head with Sony. Sunset Game Pass. Get rid of Game Pass altogether and just create a normal sub for catalog and other shit. Maybe some exclusives over time or timed exclusives, but none of this day and date release exclusive thing. That's not going to work. And then bring back exclusives, right? Everything will be exclusive to Xbox. Obviously, they can't do that with Call of Duty because it's contractual and they have all these legal issues, but make a very specific experience on Xbox that differentiates it from other platforms for Call of Duty. Kill the Series S. The Series S was a fucking dumb idea from the get-go. That is kept them in the dark ages of game development since fucking the launch. Almost half of their units have been Series S, which are not a capable device. And then license it to third parties, right? And then go public. Right? This would be a huge publicly traded company. This would be Activision 2.0 with hardware, right? A pure play gaming company, right? And giving them the flexibility to do crazy things like Joseph suggested of buying Epic, which will never happen because it will never sell. But nonetheless, that gives them the much more flexibility to do what they need to do as a standalone gaming entity. The alternative, keep it fucking at Microsoft, right? It avoids the short-term pain of a major reorg and lots of changes and big strategy pivot, but it also guarantees this quiet decline of the destruction of teams and franchises. And it trades disruption for complacency. And that path leads straight to death by 1,000 cuts. That is the end of my article. So yes.
Well, so one thing I wanted to ask you that you didn't talk about was kind of the AMD and the new console announcement. So basically, I think last week they came out and said, they're basically continuing the partnership with AMD. So nothing new here. NVIDIA stopped making console chips for the PS3, I think was the last time they really did it. And AMD has been the leader since then. So let me read Sarah Bond's quote from the announcement. This is all about building you a gaming platform that's always with you, so you can play the games you want across devices anywhere you want, delivering you an Xbox experience not locked to a single store or tied to one device. Bond said at the AMD partnership. That's why we are working closely with the Windows team to ensure that Windows is the number one platform for gaming. I think they're actually doubling down on staying at Microsoft, going more vertically integrated, and not listening to you whatsoever, which is
no. Actually, this doesn't necessarily not align with what I'm saying.
Okay.
I think they can execute on this strategy as a standalone operator much better than they can under the Microsoft umbrella, right? The AMD partnership is actually good, but the AMD partnership has been going on since the PS3
new
days. Like the only time NVIDIA was a factor was back then. So the subscription is the problem. They need a hardware strategy, and this is actually a decent hardware strategy. They partner with AMD to bring the capability to different multiple devices, but then also the integration with Windows is the other thing that's really interesting as well. But I'm not objecting to the PC strategy at all. Like, I think the PC strategy makes sense. Like, bring Xbox to PC, right? Windows 11, all that stuff. They don't need the subscription. The subscriptions are what's killing them right now, right? In terms of profitability. So I think they are making the right moves. This is the right strategy. And even like creating third parties, like licensing the tech for handheld devices with Asus
the ROG Ally.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like that makes sense too, right? It's small potatoes, but that could make sense in terms of bringing the pricing down from the hardware perspective, potentially over time. But that's what they need to be focused on, not like subscription, cloud, all this other crap that they've been doing. It's been an absolute like train wreck, right?
Okay. All right. So this is an Xbox strategy. Cress is approving subscription, cloud.
Yes. And on mobile.
And mobile,
Apple and Google. Yeah, no, that's not happening.
Got it. Okay.
This is a stupid idea to spin it off. There's no value there. Your hardware business is negative margins. You're a giant publisher with really no cohesive core. With mobile, King just sits around like this is just waiting to be diced and sliced and sold at different places. They are not stronger together than they are separately. That instantly is what happens if there's even a sniffle of this actually being done. There's no way they're going to be held together as a publicly held company. You know that too. This is why I keep pressing you on what does the P&L look like. It looks like dog shit.
It doesn't have to be public. It could be private equity.
Sure, it can be private, but it's not going to be as one entity because that entity sucks under one P&L. It's going to be sold and diced up for its most profitable parts.
This is the thing, is when I write this article, I am saying what they should do, not what they will do, and not what's easy, right? Like, it's much easier to stay within Microsoft and just die a slow death as they, destroy all value and all teams within the company, right? Which is basically what's happening right now as we speak, like real time, right? And they have enough money. Microsoft clearly has enough money to keep this thing going for basically forever, right? In order to actually help the big gaming business and create more of a dynamic market and to really innovate on the gaming side, they need to be standalone. And you're right, it's fucking messy, dude. And it ain't easy and it ain't going to happen, right? Probably. But I just want it to happen so that we have a legitimate competitor against Sony and Nintendo and just basically try to bring it back to the competitor that it used to be before they fucked up that Xbox 360 generation. Xbox One generation, sorry.
Nintendo and Sony are not even like competitors. Like they're kind of like, it's normal to have both of the devices, right?
Which one?
Switch and PlayStation. Like they're not substitute.
No, correct.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Actually, Philip, I can't say I disagree with you, dude. But the fact like having new leadership, and I suggest like someone like Frank Gibeau or Owen Mahoney would be that type of person that maybe could lead this as a publicly traded company. They could actually, I think, make the changes needed, but it's going to be messy, really messy, to your point, right? Like,
all right.